Hi Huskies! In this video we're going to be going over how to get grades from Data Director into Skyward as efficiently as possible. At this point we've made our answer sheet, we've given our test, and then we've scanned them. And so the data's sitting in Data Director, we just have to get over to Skyward. As a FERPA disclaimer here, all these grades in this video are completely made up and fake and don't really apply to the students that I'm showing them, and they're not going in the gradebook anyway, so no real problem there. We're going to start by going on to Data Director and finding our assessments. So again, we're going up to the switcher, hitting Assessments. The quickest way for me to search is to search by assessment ID number. For my, this is found at the bottom of the answer sheet. My assessment is 4072. You could also look up by assessment title, keywords there. One thing I like to do is once you have done Data Director for a couple of years, it's going to be a little picky about what you're looking in. So I like to just change it to all so my bases are covered. It's not something you have to do on your first year, but if you're using assessments from past years, it's going to force you to do that. Mine was made by me, so I'm going to look under my personal folder, but if it's an assessment that was shared with you with one of your colleagues, you can look under Shared Assessments. So I'm going to look under Personal Folders. There it is. That's my mock assessment. I'm going to open it up. The first thing I'd like to point out is that this bar graph is completely and utterly useless. For whatever reason, the standards that they use for far below basic are 0 to 20%, and these just don't correspond. So I'd like to go through really quickly how to change these performance bands and make this data a quick and easy thing to look at to see how your students did. So we go to Edit Performance Bands. That's going to open up a place where we can look at different ways to create our own performance bands. Right here is the best one, overall. Look at the overall assessment, click on that. It goes with the Data Director default, like I said, useless. I like to create my own, and I usually just call it something like A, B, C, D, something like that. And I just really quickly go through here and change these percentages. I say greater than 90% is an A. I say that 80% is a B. 70% is a C, and finally 60% is a D, and that leaves anything between 0% and 60% as an E. I like to include those percentages. It doesn't really matter because again these aren't our perfect grade lines, but this is just meant to give me a rough idea of where my bands are sitting, how my class did, just really quickly. And so then here I just click the Update button. We can save this. An annoying part is it won't immediately change that bar graph. It's going to ask you to update it a couple of times. I'm not sure why. Really, you can just wait a couple of minutes and it takes care of it. But this gives us a second to look at this search tool by year. Again, if you've only had given this assessment one time, it's not a big deal. You don't really have to narrow it down here. But let's say I wanted to go back to 2012 and 13 and look at how my students did in my second semester students. I can do that. Right now I'm looking at students in 2015, 2016 for semester 2. So I can just update that and we'll see if that graph is ready to go. And there it is. They didn't do very poorly, but that's probably because they completely blindly filled out these bubbles. So this hopefully is not what yours looks like. But let's do what we really came here to do, and that's to get into a report that's easy for us to throw our grades into our gradebook. The easiest report to do this is a Classroom Performance Summary Report. Classroom Performance Summary Report. You can download a PDF if you want to print it and save it. I prefer the HTML just to give me an online version. This report's very good because it simply gives you the grades, and it gives you what the score was, what it was out of at the top here, and it keeps our names in alphabetical order. So it lines up perfectly with Skyward. The only thing you have to be aware of is if someone's absent or something like that. It also gives you an option up here of different hours. Unfortunately, it's going to put people, even if period 2, for example, is not the class that you gave the assessment in, it's still going to show that you have them in period 2. So really you just want to go to your hour of the day that actually has those students. For example, mine was first hour, and I would just simply have to hit update if I wanted to change the hour. But that's it. I just put this on one side of my screen and my Skyward grades on the other side of my screen and quickly plug them in. And it's a pretty smooth transition. Now that we've done the final video and kind of the basics on how to get things graded, our videos following from this are going to be a little more advanced, looking at how to put on standards, how to deal with that data once we have standards, and how to share assessments between students or between teachers. So, and again, as always, please email me with any questions.